One, I dated Sebastian for 3 years and proposed to him twice. The first time he looked aggrieved, called me sis, and said he was still too young to settle down. The second time, he sneered holding a wine glass and snickered with his friends behind my back about me being a simp. He casually tossed aside the engagement ring I'd given him. I've given up to hell with returning kindness tenfold. But they say that arrogant young master Sebastian dug barehanded at the cliff for months, his hands bloodied and mangled searching for that ring he'd once discarded. By the time I finished overtime and rushed to the bar where Sebastian was holding his birthday party, they were already on the second round of drinks. Sebastian was wearing that custom black dress shirt I brought back for him from abroad, which made his skin look exceptionally pale. He glanced up at me, snorted with laughter, then lowered his head to continue playing with the hair of the woman beside him. 2 women flanked this young master Sebastian, their plunging necklines revealing ample cleavage. The delicate skin still bore the clear imprint of a man's hand as the woman leaned coyly against my boyfriend Sebastian. I frowned but pushed my way through anyway. A woman was clearly displeased and glared at me. Don't you know the rules? If you want to serve young master Sebastian, you have to wait in line. Who the hell are you? The music in the private room suddenly stopped, leaving only the flickering of colorful lights and abrupt silence. I looked up expectantly at Sebastian. At nearly 19 meters tall, I had to crane my neck to meet his gaze. It was his birthday today. I should have been sitting beside him, blowing out candles and cutting the cake together, making our shared wish. Unfortunately, Sebastian didn't seem to catch my glance. Instead, that girl became even more aggressive, splashing a glass of sparkling water right in my face. Hey, I'm talking to you. What's your problem shoving like that? As the icy, sparkling water trickled down my face, Sebastian finally reacted. He gave me an impatient glance, looking thoroughly annoyed, and grabbed my wrist to pull me outside. As he dragged me along, I opened my mouth to ask, my voice already tinged with unconscious grievance, "We're just leaving like this?" He turned his head and shot me a disdainful look. Or what? I dug in my heels abruptly. She threw water at me, and you're just going to let it slide? Florence. Sebastian called my name sternly. Do you have to ruin the mood? Can I even make a joke? A joke? Sebastian, look at me. Do I look like I'm laughing? Alright, enough of this. It's getting noisy. Let us go home. He didn't take it seriously and kept pulling me forward. I glanced down. He wasn't holding my hand, let alone intertwining our fingers. Instead, it was as if I were something filthy. He only used 2 fingers to grip my wrist. Suddenly, I no longer wanted to force my way into Sebastian's world. It was too crowded, too childish. I slipped free from his 2 slender fingers and walked back to the private room without looking back. The private room remained lively, as if the earlier commotion had never happened. Bottles of liquor lay scattered across the table, tempting me. I casually grabbed one, and the sound of shattering glass exploded over the head of the girl who had splashed water on me. Payback, my revenge, my way. I've always understood this truth. I turned and walked away. After 3 years of fawning over Sebastian, they seemed to have forgotten who I was. It seemed anyone could bully me as long as Sebastian didn't frown. It meant tacit approval. But I was the one who built the Florence group from scratch. When I was starting my business with bare hands, they were still playing in the mud. Now that the mud has been thrown in my face, why should I endure this for a man? I clapped my hands twice to shake off the glass shards, then gestured to the group of youngsters. Sorry to interrupt, carry on. Sebastian was still a college student, and so were most of his friends. They rarely witnessed such a dramatic yet composed scene. After a brief daze, the quickest-witted guy in the group revived the atmosphere, and the lively mood returned as if nothing had happened. I turned around, walked past Sebastian, and asked him, "Coming, do you want your birthday present?" The motorcycle was going too fast, the wind harshly scraping against my face. I could feel the flesh on my face being pulled in all directions. Sebastian suddenly braked, and then accelerated, causing me to uncontrollably lurch into him. His body trembled slightly, but he showed no reaction. As we passed through the tunnel, Sebastian shouted at me, "Feels good, doesn't it?" I couldn't answer him. I even suspected that if I spoke, the wind would fill my mouth completely, like a greeting doll. I absolutely wouldn't allow myself to lose composure, so I kept my mouth tightly shut. He was displeased and twisted the throttle to the limit, accelerating fiercely. Tell me, was it good or not? Only the echo in the tunnel answered him. Behind him, I might as well have been a ghost. Only when he suddenly braked or accelerated would he feel my presence. After several rounds of this, he finally couldn't take it anymore. Before reaching the cliffside, he stopped the car. Taking off his helmet, the young man's face was a clear map of love and hate, his expression full of disgust as the sweat from his head splashed onto my face. It was scalding hot. Only then did I realize my face had gone numb from the wind. For half an hour, Sebastian never once remembered he hadn't given me a helmet. He only cared about his own pleasure. No, he still wanted me to indulge his pleasure. Was it fun? Florence slapping me in front of my friends on my birthday, did that feel good? The anger of youth could never be contained. He accused me right where he had confessed his love to me 3 years ago. I dated Sebastian for 3 years, and I spoiled him for all 3 of those years. 3 years ago, on his birthday, I gave him the motorcycle he had been eyeing for ages. He was beyond thrilled. He tore open my long, tight-fitting dress, lifted me onto the back seat, and with nervous yet patient hands fastened my helmet. The sparkle in his eyes outshone even the brightest stars in the sky. The car sped along yet remained steady. When encountering potholes on the mountain road, he would tilt his head slightly and softly warn. "Sis, there's a pothole ahead, it LL jolt." That night, moonlight spilled over the boy's shoulders as I sat sideways on the vehicle, while he stood before me, meeting my gaze at eye level. He asked me, "Sis, do you like me even just a little?" The youthful, shy face of the boy confessing his love overlapped with Sebastian's current livid expression. My hand clenched slightly. A gift, Sebastian said impatiently, yet still extended his hand toward me. He knew I had never treated him poorly from the day we met, whether it was small things like clothes and jewelry or big-ticket items like cars and houses. He always obtained them effortlessly. I spoiled him rotten. I extended my fist toward him, then opened my palm before his face. The silver ring gleamed brilliantly under the moonlight with a jade rabbit hanging mid-sky as the mountain breeze carried away all restlessness. My heart couldn't help but settle into a quiet anticipation. Sebastian frowned, staring at the ring. Without taking it, "Are you joking with me?" "I want a gift." My hand trembled slightly as I extended it forward just 1 centimeter. "This is the gift." Even though it was my second proposal, I was still nervous. Taking a deep breath, I said, "Sebastian, would you?" The young man let out a cold laugh and with a sweep of his long arm sent the ring tumbling like a falling star toward the cliff's edge. "You think Sebastian would marry a woman 6 years older than him? What makes you so sure?" "You're 28 sis, not 18. Supporting me is one thing, but you actually want to be my wife. You've got some nerve, see, Mom." "It's not that I didn't give him a chance. He's the one who didn't want it." The young man's anger howled through the mountain winds, with his motorcycle speeding away until it vanished from sight in moments. I sighed and called my mother. "Mom, it didn't work out on her end." Rustling sounds and a clamor of voices filled the line. "You're too wooden, Florence. What kind of girlfriend are you? You're so much older than Sebastian. You should be more accommodating to him. Besides, he is still." Before my mother could finish her sentence, a strong beam of light swept across the dark mountain road, moving slowly, as if waiting for someone. "Mom, I'll hang up now. We'll talk when I get home." The mountain path was narrow. I deliberately pressed myself against the rocky wall to let this inexplicably appearing Land Rover pass first. But the car wouldn't move. It just stopped right beside me, inching forward whenever I tried to inch away. The interior was pitch black, impossible to see inside, yet the person in the car showed no intention of getting out. After more than half an hour, the car and I finally reached the main road. I opened the door of the Bentley that had been waiting roadside, but froze the moment I tried to reverse. When did this road become so popular? In the middle of the night, my car was sandwiched between 2 others, completely stuck. Lacking patience, I glanced at both vehicles, a Volkswagen in front and a BMW behind. Only a fool would hit the BMW. I chose the Volkswagen. I rammed into the Volkswagen's bumper hard, leaving a clearly visible dent. I got out of the car and stuck my contact information on the Volkswagen's window. I casually sent Sebastian a text. "The apartment's keys are in the entryway. It's a birthday gift and a breakup gift." Blocked, deleted. I drove away. 3. I got home at 11:30 to find my mother sitting upright on the sofa. I didn't need her to say anything. I already knew she was going to criticize me. Ever since that incident, no matter what happened between Sebastian and me, my mother would unconditionally take Sebastian's side, as if Sebastian were her own son. This time was even worse. No criticism, just a direct announcement. "Tomorrow I'm having dinner with Sebastian. You should come too." I changed into slippers. My feet ached from wearing high heels all day, and I was starving after skipping dinner. All I wanted was to quickly change into comfortable pajamas. As I headed toward the bedroom, my mother followed, chattering nonstop behind me. "I'm talking to you. Are you listening, Florence?" My mother has heart disease and high blood pressure. I've told her countless times not to go play mahjong, but she just gives me a mysterious look and says I don't understand anything. The more she plays, the more irritable she becomes. I'm starting to suspect this is her second menopause. At this point, my last shred of patience was gone. I turned to face my mother and spoke to her slowly and deliberately. "Mom, there's no future between me and Sebastian. You might as well give up on that idea." After speaking, I added with a smirk, "If you want to repay his kindness, I'm out of the question. How about you do it yourself, Mom? I don't mind calling him Dad, or even little brother." 2 options, plenty for my mom to choose from. But I never expected my mom would explode, flailing her arms as if to pounce on me, venting her fury at my unfilial behavior. Luckily, I was young and reacted half a beat faster than her. A second before my mother's claws could reach me, I slammed the door shut. That's right, Sebastian had done our family a great favor. 3 years ago, I was away on a business trip when my mother went out to her mahjong game. Stuck in traffic on the elevated highway while driving out, the woman's fiery temper flared up again, so she got out to direct traffic. She couldn't sort out the traffic, but her blood pressure sure spiked. Collapsed right there, in the middle of the worst traffic jam. One moment, the middle-aged woman was full of life. The next, she was lying flat on the ground. No one dared to step forward and help. So the crowd formed several circles around her, and though 110 was called multiple times, still no one dared to approach. According to my mom's later account, she had already seen her grandmother smiling and waving at her. Then she fell into a broad, pleasantly scented chest. Grandma disappeared, and her savior appeared. My mother was saved when she first woke up. Sebastian happened to walk in from outside, holding her test results in his hand. Sebastian was at least polite enough to greet my mother first. "Auntie." My mother's eyes lit up. This young man was strikingly handsome, and he had even snatched her back from Grandma's clutches. She dragged Sebastian to see the doctor, confirming she was fine while simultaneously pulling my boyfriend along. By the time I rushed to the hospital after my business trip, my mother was gazing at Sebastian with motherly affection as he peeled an apple. My mother's eyes were fixed on Sebastian's face, completely oblivious to the poor apple that had been whittled down to its core. I walked into the hospital room and gave Sebastian a pat on the shoulder. "Give it to me." The boy turned his head, tilting it slightly to look up at me, his clear eyes carrying a trace of confusion and grievance, with a faint stubble of beard sprouting on his slender chin. My heart inexplicably twinged. My mother was won over by Sebastian's character, while I was won over by his beauty. So being quite savvy, I took the initiative to add Sebastian on WeChat. My mother was pleased, and so was I. I once believed that Sebastian and I were destined by fate. Otherwise, why was it that among all the people surrounding my mother, he was the only one who dared to step in and save her? Otherwise, why was it that on such a congested day, he alone managed to ride his motorcycle smoothly all the way to the hospital? So, after we started dating, I never lacked anything when it came to Sebastian. On one hand, it was because of his face. On the other, it was to repay him for my mother's sake. I had the money, he had the looks. We dated for 3 years, and he never once refused me. So, is it too much to ask for marriage now? I don't understand why he kept rejecting me over and over again. Even that ring, he just tossed it aside without a second thought. Fine, if it's tossed, then it's tossed. Sebastian, you don't want the ring. I don't want you either for. At this moment, my mother was still making reasonable arguments outside the door, but I felt completely spaced out. 3 years it was in tea, without its sweetness. When we first started dating, it was also the phase when my company was about to take off, so I didn't have much time to spend with Sebastian. Sebastian would slip into my company right after class. While I was in a meeting in the conference room, he leaned against the door outside recording my daily life through the crack with his phone. Then he'd gaze at me with infatuation and say, "Sis, you're so cool." When I worked late into the night, he'd pull up a chair and stay with me through the all night. Then he'd massage my neck and say, "Tenderly, you've worked so hard." I had grown accustomed to his company, thinking our relationship had settled into a steady, enduring flow. Little did I know it was gradually drying up, revealing the ugly riverbed beneath. My phone chimed inopportunely twice, an unknown number. It was a WeChat friend request. Volkswagen owner. I frowned. It was that lucky guy whose bumper ID hit. The moment the friend request was accepted, the typing indicator appeared immediately as he swiftly sent a message. The car's totaled. The audacity of this guy. His car's bumper gets damaged, and suddenly it's totaled. What kind of new age human is this? And I remember very clearly that car was brand new. If I didn't reply within a minute, the person would immediately follow up with, "Don't believe me, come see for yourself." See for myself. Then it just so happened Sebastian was coming over for dinner tomorrow, and I didn't want to see him. I left early the next morning for ease of movement. I deliberately wore a tracksuit and did some warm-up exercises before heading out. When I arrived at the meeting spot, there was no Volkswagen, only a Land Rover parked there. I glanced over as a tall, long-limbed man stepped out of the car dressed in a custom black suit walking toward me. I nodded at him as a form of greeting. No one in the Beijing business circle would fail to recognize this man, Vincent. But my company had never worked with him before. We were merely acquaintances who exchanged nods. But this person stopped beside me, stood still, and leaned down close to me, his pleasant scent enveloping me. The weather was a bit warm. I was wearing too many layers, and he was standing too close. Suddenly, I felt a little hot. "Pay for my car," the man's deep, pleasant voice sounded above my head. The Volkswagen owner. "Ah, okay, President Vincent, how much?" The man chuckled lightly, his voice pleasant yet icy as it sounded again. "Not much, 3 million. Wait a minute, I thought he was President Vincent, but he thinks I'm a sucker. What kind of Volkswagen costs 3 million? What kind of car gets totaled from one collision?" The man's unhurried voice sounded again. "It's the lettered version, top configuration. How does Florence always pay?" I flushed red with suppressed anger and looked up at the man indignantly, only to meet his smiling eyes head on. I'd seen Vincent before, but never this close. Everyone says Vincent is a business genius, a titan of industry, but no one mentioned he is this young and this handsome. My habit of swooning over handsome men is acting up again. His face is way too close to mine. I couldn't help myself. I giggled and took a step closer to him. Vincent didn't move away, so I took another step. Not even hiding, just one more step. "General Florence, is this how you plan to repay your debt?" The man's teasing voice brought me a sliver of clarity. I tried to shrink back, but the man locked his grip around my wrist, trying to run too late. By the time I came to my senses, I was already sitting on Vincent's bed. Vincent was showering, his blurred silhouette visible through the translucent bathroom door. The bedroom was quiet yet thick with unspoken tension. Unable to sit still, I began wandering through his home from the living room to the study. Vincent's house was spacious, with his study filled with books, an extensive collection spanning ancient and modern times from all corners of the world and covering every subject. Only one fairy tale book stood out as incongruous. Just as I reached to pull it out, a husky voice called from the doorway, "Bring it here, I'll read it to you later." Vincent leaned against the doorframe, one hand drying his hair with a rough towel, while the other clutched at his bathrobe to keep it from slipping. Clearly he didn't know how to tie it. I took 2 steps forward, my fingertips tracing along the man's jawline down past his prominent apple-firm pectorals and well-defined abs, finally resting on the precariously hanging towel. Rising on my tiptoes, I leaned close to his ear and whispered breathily, "Let me help you tie it." The man didn't respond. I let out a soft laugh and was about to reach out when his veined hand caught my mischievous one. When he spoke again, his voice was hoarse beyond recognition. "Help me with something else." The desire in his eyes was completely unconcealed as he guided my hand past dense forests and thickets, settling it upon a sturdy tree trunk. "All right," he asked for my consent. "Sure, there's no problem with that. With money and looks, I'm not at a loss. But how come I've heard Vincent isn't interested in women, living like an ascetic all day? Rumors can't be trusted." 5. Vincent lifted my already drenched body, his large hand pressing against my waist, caressing it back and forth as if obsessed. Good girl. Vincent's bed was too soft and I was exhausted. The man was extremely patient, his long arm reaching out to encircle my waist, supporting my gradually weakening body. "Giving up already? The man mocked me, while continuing relentlessly, leaving me unable to utter a complete sentence. A sob rose straight from my throat. The crimson-tinged sky outside the window turned pitch black as the jade rabbit rose in the east. The streetlights had all gone out, yet Vincent remained full of energy. Finally, I lay on my back staring blankly at the ceiling, my eyes unfocused. Vincent finally decided to spare me for the moment, raising an eyebrow as he looked at me. What's wrong? Half dead, I groaned. I think I got the short end of the stick. A $3 million deal could be settled it. Why did I have to endure your endless torment? Get up, I'll transfer the money to you. After the passion faded, I turned cold and heartless. Vincent clearly didn't expect this from me, his rapid breathing now unbearably awkward. I don't want money, I said while getting dressed. Then what do you want? You've had your fun. I've given you money. Don't push your luck, Mr. Vincent. Vincent, who was always calm and composed during auctions, was now clutching the corner of the blanket with a pitiful expression, a few unruly strands of hair sticking up foolishly on his head. If I say I want you, would you call me cheesy? Yes, I rolled my eyes at him. Then, what if I marry you? My hands froze mid-action. What did I just hear? Vincent wants to marry me, that unattainable Ford family from the capital S elite circle. I turned to look at him jerkily, but the man had completely shed his daytime executive demeanor, now resembling nothing so much as an abandoned puppy. You've already slept with me. You can't just discard me. You're going to marry me. Holy shit, since when did the Ford family have a tradition of deciding your life partner after one night? I eyed Vincent's flesh skin with suspicion. It was 10 o'clock. ID entered his house at 5. I raised an eyebrow, and Vincent immediately added, this, I can control it. I thought you'd like this. I've been holding back for so long, just waiting for this moment. What kind of filthy talk is this? I'm not close enough with Vincent to discuss such matters, and the idea of getting married after one night is utter nonsense. Never take a man's words in bed. Seriously, not a single one. Sebastian's call came through. Florence, it's 10:30. Aren't you coming home? Are you avoiding me? I was about to say, who the hell do you think you are? Why would I need to avoid you? Besides, what was he doing still hanging around my place at this late hour anyway? Unfortunately, the man had long legs and even longer arms. My poor little phone fell into his large hands, and my voice instinctively reverted to that authoritative tone. Hide from me. What status do you have? Sebastian was silent for half a minute, then an incredulous voice came through the phone. Bro, how are you with Florence? None of your business. I didn't mean it like that, bro. Florence is my girl. Don't bring up the past. I don't want to hear it. Got something to say? If not, I'm hanging up. And one more thing, Florence is your sister-in-law. You can call her that, or you can get the hell out of the Ford family. With that, Vincent hung up the phone. Then, like a big dog, he knelt on the bed and obediently handed me his phone, his tone switching back to that clingy voice. Florence, did I say it well? No one answered him, and his voice grew plaintive. He calls you Florence. He doesn't treat you well. I looked him straight in the eyes and confirmed that I truly hadn't known Vincent before. Yet Vincent behaved as if deeply devoted to me, acting with intimate familiarity, treating me with utmost tenderness in bed, leaving traces everywhere. There wasn't the slightest sense that I owed him anything. Instead, he was the one treading carefully. Vincent hung his head low, like a wronged golden retriever. I pictured him in his office, all serious in a suit, and couldn't help but burst out laughing. I moved closer and cupped his face in my hands. His eyes held disappointment, hope, and a hint of domineering. I forced him to look straight at me and asked, "Are you secretly in love with me?" 6. It was fine until he mentioned it, but then the man's tears came pouring down in torrents. Large, scalding drops fell into the palm of my hand. I wiped them away, only for more to appear. I've had a crush on you. I've had a crush on you for so long. The man's phoenix eyes were red from crying, the rims tinged with color, adding a touch of beauty that begged for affection. No wonder they say a man's tears are the best dowry. Following my instincts, I lifted his face and kissed away his tears. Kisses rained densely on Vincent's face. By the time I came to my senses, the sports jacket I'd just put on was already being taken off again, leaving only a sports bra. He grabbed it roughly, bending down to take it in his mouth. I pushed his head away in refusal. Unshowered, it would smell. His eyes sparkled as he looked up at me with a smile. It's fragrant, Florence. Outside, rain had begun to fall unnoticed, its pitter-patter drumming against the bed in rhythm with Vincent's movements. Rainy days are quite beautiful indeed. Pity there's always someone to spoil the mood. Vincent had just carried me into the bathroom, promising to give me a massage when the doorbell rang. Vincent frowned, but ignored it. Yet the person outside directly entered using the passcode, shouting, "Bro, bro." Vincent wiped his foam cover hands and still wrapped a towel around his lower body. This time he moved closer to my hand on his own. "Help me out, baby." I tied a perfect bow for him, then bit down hard on his beautiful shoulder blade. I patted his butt as encouragement. "Go get him, Pikachu." Sebastian had thought about breaking up with Florence before, but it should have been him who ended it. Florence shamelessly refused to break up. She should have kept clinging to him. Even when she proposed a second time, even when he trampled the ring beneath his feet, she should have continued doting on him, spoiling him, as always. So, why did she hear his brother's voice on her phone? His brother had been his nightmare since childhood. His brother was named Vincent, and he was called Sebastian. His brother was the child of their father and his lawfully wedded wife with a spotless family background and a brilliant mind. Since childhood, adults never failed to praise his brother. He was the child of their father and his mother also their father's son, and their father took great care in raising him too. But when adults spoke of him, they only said he was fortunate with his father supporting him from the front and his brother backing him from behind. What about him? Why must he always stand beneath the great tree as a sapling? Why can't he stand tall and reach the heavens? Yet, even on his deathbed, his father merely shook his head before telling his elder brother to take good care of him. He never wanted this kind of care. Soon he discovered he possessed yet another merit. That was his face. Someone had actually indulged him without limits just for the sake of his looks. He felt an unprecedented sense of accomplishment. But was even this last bit of achievement going to be snatched away by his brother? He would never allow it. So, he lingered outside Vincent's door for half an hour and knocked nearly 100 times. The lights were clearly on inside, but he couldn't take it anymore and directly used his fingerprint to unlock the door. Bro, he roared through the house. He was relieved to find the bedroom empty, relieved he didn't see Florence, who loved him. Yet his brother still appeared bare-chested with that familiar bow knot on the bath towel. It was the same knotting technique Florence used whenever she tied his tie for job interviews. He couldn't control himself and threw the first punch at his brother. I was soaking in the perfectly tempered bathtub for nearly 20 minutes, and Vincent still hadn't returned. Through the bathroom door, Sebastian and Vincent were already brawling. I leaned over the edge of the tub to watch the fight, and Vincent was clearly the better fighter. Most of the time it was him pinning Sebastian to the ground and beating him up. At this moment Sebastian was clearly in a pleading posture, his eyes red as he choked back sobs and asked Vincent, "Bro, can you give Florence back to me?" Vincent tilted his head slightly, deliberately revealing the hickey on his shoulder blade, and sneered. "Florence is your sister-in-law. What do I owe you?" The last thread in Sebastian's heart snapped violently. He struggled like a madman, scrambling up from the ground, pushing open door after door, desperate to find any trace of me. I knew he wouldn't believe it. How for 3 years I'd guarded my body, refusing him no matter how he begged, only to suddenly give myself to another. But I also don't understand, when he already has me as his girlfriend, how could he tolerate others running wild in my territory? Today Vincent's near madness antics and his tears made me realize. This is possessiveness. I feel no desire for Sebastian, only admiration. I admire his exterior, but look down on his soul. Sebastian stood at the bathroom door, his shadowy figure flickering, hesitantly frozen in place. See, he didn't even have the courage to confront me directly. I broke the stalemate by calling out to the door, "Vincent, are you done yet?" I need a shower. When I spoke again, my voice carried an unfamiliar softness I'd never used before. The footsteps at the door halted. "I'm coming, baby." Sebastian clung to the door, with his whole body blocking Vincent's entry in a futile struggle. I put on my bathrobe. This household would fall apart without me. The moment I stepped out of the bathroom, Sebastian looked at me like a drowning man grasping at straws, his face flushed as he opened his arms wide to hug me. I crossed my arms and stared at him coldly, making no move to step forward. "What do you mean, Sebastian? When we were dating you found it annoying. When I proposed you refused. Now that I want to break up you're unwilling." Sebastian's delicate eyes squeezed out a few tears, and suddenly I remembered someone else's unstoppable heavy tears just moments ago. I got distracted and glanced behind Sebastian. Sure enough, someone's face had already darkened considerably. "Enough, we've already broken up, Sebastian." I made myself very clear. "Stop pestering me." "Florence, how could you do this to me? You said you loved my face the most. You said you specially went to have this ring polished for me." I couldn't help but suspect that Sebastian was bringing this up, now specifically to provoke Vincent. Vincent grabbed him by the collar, pinned him against the corner, and threw a merciless punch. "You know Florence went to the master craftsman to polish a ring for you. Yet you still lost it. If you lost it, don't go back looking for it." The two brothers stood at daggers drawn, the tension between them not easing, but growing more intense. Sebastian turned his head to look at me, the corner of his mouth lifting as he spat out a mouthful of blood, yet his eyes sparkled. "Florence, wait for me. I can get the ring back. I can get our past back too. We've been together for 3 years. It's not something others can compare to in just one night." Vincent scoffed, his arm flexing as he lifted him up, his face full of disdain. "Do you even know what love at first sight means? You're nothing." "Fine, go find the ring then." Vincent's eyes darkened, his teeth clenched. "If I find it, I'll leave." After Sebastian left, I leaned against the doorframe, glaring coldly at Vincent. "Vincent, what do you take me for? Did you two take turns? That ring of mine." Before I could finish, Vincent scooped me up in his arms and placed me on the sofa. He knelt before me, placing my feet on his towel, rubbing them repeatedly to warm them up. "Aren't your feet cold without shoes or socks?" "Stop changing the subject. The ring." "The ring is here." Vincent extended his hand to interlock fingers with mine, the ring I designed fitting perfectly between us, seamless and snug. "How did it end up with you?" Vincent's gaze held a touch of sorrow as he looked at me. "The master craftsman you found was my teacher. I begged him to make me an identical one. I couldn't have the person, but I could have his exact replica. Any connection to you, no matter how small, would do." I tightened my grip on Vincent's hand, suddenly thinking of Sebastian. What if Sebastian actually found the ring? Someone said with certainty he wouldn't find it. I picked it up. I suddenly remembered that night when Sebastian abandoned me on the mountain, the Land Rover that had been following behind me with its high beams lighting the way. And what's more, my professor is on vacation abroad. I couldn't help but give him a thumbs up, truly worthy of the meticulous-minded President Vincent. After staying at Vincent's place for 2 weeks, my mother finally couldn't sit still any longer. She called me. "Florence, when are you planning to come home? You wouldn't even know if your mother died in this house." I took a bite of the bayberry Vincent fed me. Tui, Mom, you'll definitely live to be 100. Stop trying to sweet talk me, that's what she said, but my mom's attitude clearly softened. Her tone gentler, she asked me, hasn't Sebastian contacted you recently? Nope, I've blocked all his contact info and don't answer unknown calls, how could he possibly reach me? My mother sighed and continued, that poor boy keeps updating me every day on his progress in searching for the ring. Out there on the mountain all day exposed to wind and sun, he looks like a little dirt monkey now covered in dust, but his teeth seem even whiter by contrast. Yesterday his gloves tore, but he had this gut feeling he'd find it soon, so he dug barehanded in the dirt for half a day. That boy's got such delicate skin, he has never done manual labor like this before. His hands are nearly ruined now, all mangled and bloody. Florence, it's not that mom is being partial, but one should be merciful when mercy is due. That's enough now. Sebastian knows he was wrong. You still like him too. A small punishment as a warning will suffice. If the ring can't be found, mom will pay for a new pair for you both. Vincent stretched out his hand toward me. I spat the waxberry pit into his pale palm and answered my mother while staring at him. I don't like him anymore. What? I inched closer and closer toward Vincent, watching his ears grow increasingly red as I leaned in to whisper my reply to my mother. I like someone else now. Vincent turned his head like a robot. My mother exploded again on the other end. Who is it? You're quite the fickle one. Bring them home. Let me see tomorrow. Vincent grabbed my hand, his palm damp with fine beads of sweat that seeped onto the back of my hand. He was nervous. The next day, I took Vincent home. Vincent chose the most inconspicuous Bentley from the garage, nearly running 2 red lights along the way before safely arriving at my place. The moment the car came to a stop, I sensed that unusual gaze. With scrutiny, with displeasure, with resentment. Turning around, sure enough, my mother was glaring fiercely at Vincent, and my clasped hands, her head lowered. I took 2 steps forward with Vincent, but my mother took 2 shocked steps back. I was speechless. Mom, are you doing the cha-cha? My mother glared at me, pointing at Vincent and trembling as she asked, you 3 years ago. Vincent's eyes darkened slightly. It's me, I'm late, Mom. With Vincent's call of Mom, my mother fainted once again. Only this time it wasn't from anxiety or anger, but from sheer excitement and joy. My mother woke up and immediately clung to Vincent's hand. Seeing this undeniably real scene, I suddenly had a bad feeling. But the next second my mother asked me, Florence, when are you getting married? How my mother glared at me. This is the one who saved your mother's life. How, recalling the past, my mother covered her face and sobbed. At that time my consciousness was fading. All I remember is how broad and reassuring his shoulders were, and that pleasant woody scent on him. It reminded me so much of my grandmother's house from childhood. Later, when I opened my eyes and saw Sebastian, I was still wondering how this skinny guy could lift me up. He didn't have that scent on him either. But since you liked him, I didn't look into it further. After saying this, my mother wiped her tears again, laughing through her sobs as she gripped Vincent's shoulders and took a deep sniff of his scent. That's more like it. I kicked Vincent. What is going on? What kind of nonsense is this? Vincent stammered awkwardly. Only under my coercion did he finally tell the truth. It was indeed him who took my mother to the hospital that day. He went to the 3rd floor to collect the MRI report while Sebastian was on the 2nd floor getting the routine test results. Vincent looked aggrieved. He was faster than me. He is also better looking than me. I saw it clearly from outside the door. The moment you spotted him, you froze. Just like how I was when I first saw you. All the pieces of the puzzle fell into place. Vincent saved my mother and fell in love with me at first sight when I rushed to the scene. My mother mistook Sebastian for her savior and clung to him, refusing to let go. I was drawn to Sebastian's face, while Sebastian had his eyes on my money. But when I looked at Vincent's face, he was just as good. Why didn't he? He just explained the truth. Vincent didn't want to say it. Finally, at midnight, I wore him down. Wife, let me in just once. No saying no. Entering, the guy hung his head dejectedly, fiddled with his phone, and handed it to me. A man in a suit who was so fat he nearly overflowed the screen appeared on the phone display. 3 years ago, I looked like this, the guy said with resentment in his voice. If I had appeared before you like this 3 years ago, would you have had wicked thoughts about me? For you, I've been eating grass for 2 years just to impress a face-conscious woman like you. I've shown you all my scars, so you better treat me well. You're even more handsome. Now I put down my phone and told the truth. Her fingers traced over his well-defined abs. Keep working hard, don't gain the weight back. His eyes flickered with mischief. You're right, honey, so you'll have to help me. Amidst the ups and downs, my mother forwarded me a message Sebastian had sent her. It was a picture of soda can tab. Sebastian held up the ring, laughing joyfully. My mom captioned it, this kid's gone silly from digging in the dirt.